Hello and good day. I'm Dr. Brian Prax here at Chronic Care Charlottesville, and today I have some very disturbing statistics that I really want you to take a look at. I have my notes printed here, so we'll just go ahead and hold it up here. Just wanted to let you know that in 1960, 1.5% of the U.S. population had diabetes. That was 1.4 million cases of diabetes. 1980, fast forward 20 years, 5.5 million cases. That represented 4% of the U.S. population. Definitely on a rise, especially when you look at the percent of population. Well, let's go ahead and fast forward another, 30 years or so. 2016, last year, 22 million, a whopping 11% of the U.S. population is impacted. There's 36 million cases of neuropathy. It's an amazing statistic, especially when I know, and I've seen, and I know doctors, medical doctors and others who have actually helped patients to reverse diabetes. It's a very scary statistic that is just running aground. We are running our health into the ground here in America. And what we found is that there are some clues that we can look at. In 1970, I think it was Senator McGovern introduced legislation and introduced the food pyramid, or what eventually ended up becoming the food pyramid. You know what I'm talking about, the food pyramid. It has, at the very top, it has sparingly, that's sweets. Everybody knows, diabetics and others know that sweets are not good and should be used sparingly at the top of that, at the top of the pyramid. But what is it at the very bottom where we're supposed to have 4 to 6 or even actually 6 to 7 servings? It's a hidden form of sugar, and it's called wheat, it's called grains, and what they want to do is they want to encourage you to have 6 to 7 servings of these grains. They say that it's heart healthy. Well, there are many doctors, myself included, one of them being a cardiologist who writes a book called Wheat Belly. And I've talked about Wheat Belly numerous times on these tips, but Wheat Belly is written by Dr. William Davis. Look it up, Google it, get it. It's critically important. But in Wheat Belly, Dr. Davis points that it's the simple, refined carbohydrates, like what they're recommending at the bottom of the pyramid. That's what's making us have wheat belly. That's what's making us obese. That's what's making us have diabetes for the most part. Okay, talking about diabetes type 2. And that's what's creating this coined term called diabesity. So this thing is run amok. We've done the low-fat experiment, if you will. I think Dr. McGovern, Mr. McGovern, Senator McGovern had wonderful intentions, wonderful ideas. We noticed that heart disease was on the rise, and I think scientists and politicians really kind of jumped on this bandwagon and thought, wow, we're getting overweight. We're not seeing slender people like we did in the 50s and the 60s. And think about that. If you're old enough to have grown up in that era or even before, everybody was slender. Very, very rare for somebody to be overweight. Well, the reason is because we didn't have so much refined carbohydrates. In an upcoming episode, I'm going to talk about the differences between the types of foods that we eat. But that's just it for today. I wanted to talk about the statistics and how they're really getting out of control. The American Diabetic Association, the American Heart Association, our government, the CDC, all of these legislators, and I'm sure they're backed by the food industry, is really pushing us and continues to push us in these non-scientifically proved, no validated research whatsoever about carbohydrates. Because if you're reducing fat, and you know what I mean, I was in a store, Wegmans, just the other day, they've got aisles and aisles and aisles of all this low-fat stuff, low-fat cells, low-saturated fat. Well, calories are calories, and if you're going to replace or take out fat, you got to replace it with something else. So what do they replace it with? Something yummy, something that's going to sell, and something that they can print low fat on there so that you buy it, and you're duped into believing that low fat makes you less fat. And it's not true. So here's a little clue. Look at your sugars, look at your Snickers bars and sodas. We know those are bad. Obviously you know that. If you go to Starbucks, consider a small cup of black coffee with nothing in it, because all of those things like frappuccinos, we talked about that, and lattes and all that, that's sugar, 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 okay? It's the sugar and the simple carbs that are getting us fat, that are getting us overweight, getting us obese, and getting us diabetes. And that's why most 30% in fact of most neuropathy cases are diabetic cases. So I'll wrap up with that. I want you to consider the statistics. Get the book Wheat Belly. I'll put the link down here, and there's another one by a neurologist. Dr. Perlmutter writes a book called Grain Brain. And I want you to take a look at this stuff. As always, call me if you have any questions, if you want to consult. We've got over a 85 to 90% success rate on reversing peripheral neuropathy. So if you find yourself in that boat, if you want to consult, hit reply, shoot me an email. I will respond, or even contact our office. For those of you who are not in the Charlottesville or even Virginia area, yes, we do have a remote program where we can actually ship you some of the tools that we use and give you books and things like that we can do remotely. That's it for now. I hope you have a great day. Do your research, contact us, and we'll talk to you soon.